The Morning Wave on Mix 93.8.
So right here on Mix 93.8, it's the one and only. Let's go, Ori.
Mr. Sipho HotStix Mabuse.
I've been waiting for this moment for a very, very long time. And the song you're currently listening to is called Rainbow Nation. We're live on Facebook. Do join the conversation and send all your questions through. Mr. Mabuse, it's an incredible honor to have you in studio. And you were saying when you were listening to the song, you haven't heard it since 1996.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pleasantly surprised to hear it.
Wow.
Because I didn't know what it sounded like. Because the last time I heard it was when I recorded it. And that was it.
Yeah.
And I don't remember any other station playing it. Thank you.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome.
Thank you for bringing it to my ears.
I had a moment.
I'm actually going to buy the CD.
I've got a copy. I would love to give you my copy, but I can't.
Please.
I can't. I'm
Please
sorry.
give it to me and sign it.
And speaking of which, you know, that particular album, Township Child, I remember, you know, seeing it in my father's collection. He's an avid jazz lover and, you know, all round just music lover. And listening to this particular song, I mean, the opening lines speaks to, you know, being united in diversity, you know, and for everybody to stand as one. And a lot of the conversations that I have, particularly on my show, talks about inclusivity. Do you find that you can relate to that even today?
Incidentally, as we're driving, you know, coming out to the station, it's a conversation I had with Theo. Yeah. And I wish we could work more on that. I think there are fragments in this country. People are not as united as we would have hoped for.
Yes.
And thought we're heading in the same direction as a people. You know, the level of impoverishment in our country is just so sad. You know, it's because when we speak about unity, we're not talking about people just coming together.
Yes.
It's more than that. It's deeper.
Yeah.
It is how we uplift, how we elevate others. You know, there's a friend of mine who's a professor. He wrote a book, Lift as You Rise.
Beautiful.
You know?
Yeah.
Professor Mohale. And we haven't done that. We've left a lot of people out on the periphery as we, you know, chart our own little spaces to empower ourselves without even thinking how it impacts on the society as a whole.
Absolutely. And we talk about how, you know, no man or woman is an island. You know, we need each other to elevate. We need each other to move forward. And it takes me back to a concert that you did at Ellis Park in the 1980s, you know, where you spoke about no inhibitions, you know, everybody just coming together and having a good time, you know. Do you miss those days?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that concert was an eye-opener, in particular for many of the white people in South Africa.
Yes.
Because they'd never been exposed to how to interact or integrate themselves into. But this showed the power of music, what music can do, as much as we talk about sports. But when people get together musically, the joy, you know, of being in that space was just incredible. I mean, for me, it was a privilege to be one of the musicians who was at the concert in the park. And besides the fact that it was all about raising funds for, you know, what we've just spoken about.
Absolutely.
You know, Ina Perlman was a conscientious person because for her it was about lifting people from poverty.
Absolutely.
I'm not even sure if these days we consider that as an important part of our lives.
I don't think so. And I think that's why, you know, I try and get as much youth on the show as possible, you know, to talk about, you know, yes, you've passed your matric and so on and so forth, but what are your plans after that? How are you going to connect with others? How are you going to find balance? How are you going to uncover and discover who you are and connect on a vulnerable and emotional level? There was a song on the album, Sipho, Nelson Mandela. And in fact, there was a question that came through on the Facebook line from Cameron Tate, who says, do you think that the legacy and meaning of Madiba's life has been forgotten in this country in some way, shape or form?
Well, Madiba's legacy cannot be forgotten, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
It reverberates all over. And however much young people may probably think differently, it is sad and unfortunate if they want to believe that Madiba's legacy is meaningless. Not only Madiba, but he was a symbolism of what his generation stood for.
100%.
Yeah. And the way others, Babu Sisulu, Ntate Mutuping, Robert Sobukwe, and the next generation of Stephen Bantibiko.
Yes.
So we cannot discount the role that those people played. When they did what they did, it was for us to take it beyond.
Absolutely, take it further.
Yeah. To do that.
Yeah.
It's like when you run a relay race, if you're given a baton to run and then you drop it, do you know what that does to the entire
team? Yeah.
That's what we have done.
Yeah.
With this, Sipho, you speak about, us having to work more on, the impoverishment that we are facing in South Africa, as well as, the racism that we still face in our country today. But I know for a fact that your music has had some very impactful influences on people even up till this day. Can you mention to us what is it that you really, really appreciate about your music impacting people not only in South Africa but globally as well?
I never like to speak about what my music does for people. I always leave it up to people to actually, make that call. Because I always maintain that we are the conduits of the music.
Yes.
The music doesn't come from us. It comes through us, not from us.
That's true.
So how it affects or impacts on people is how people respond to it.
Yes.
And I'd love to believe that in my own little way I made a contribution and conscientized people beyond their color, beyond their status.
Absolutely.
And so on,
Creed,
to
religion.
ensure that,
Yes.
we are a people rather than races.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I had a conversation with somebody just the other day, and I said, if you remove your title, your car, your house, everything that belongs to you, the tangible material things, you're left with just the soul. And that's how we should see each other as individuals. You are a soul, you are a soul, I am a soul, and we're exactly the same.
Those
right?
things come, but they go.
Absolutely.
When they go, where do you go?
Tagline on the Morning Wave. So we're joined by the legend that is Sipho HotStix Mabuse. Please send your messages via the WhatsApp line 084-822-0938, and we're also live on Facebook. More of the conversation and music coming your way after these and traffic. So right here on Mix 93.8, we are joined by the one and only Sipho HotStix Mabuse, and this one is Burnout, and everybody loves this one, so I had to throw it in there. Yes. But we started off with Rainbow Nation from my father's and my favorite album, Township Child. It's 56 after 10, and so there's wonderful messages coming through, not only on Facebook, but also on the WhatsApp line. And Simone says, oh my goodness, what an interview with such an iconic individual. And without this tune, where would we be? And she's dancing in the office. Speaking of which, my mum actually sent me a message and said, Sam, I think you should possibly ask Mr. HotStix to serenade the women, since yesterday was International Women's Day. I said, what an idea. Can we do that, sir? If you had to serenade the women, how would you do it?
How would I do it?
Yes, and what would you say?
They'd have to come to a concert I do, and then I sing for them.
There we go. And please make sure that it's a local one. We don't have the visas yet for the international concerts.
Yeah.
Sipho, I wanted to get into, and I want to sort of keep this quite lighthearted now, and talk about advice for young people who would like to enter the music industry. Over time, things have changed and music has evolved. And I think even in terms of the politics in music, that also has become, quite disheartening to an extent. But if you had to, over the years, look at some of the challenges that you faced, and you've obviously risen from hopefully all of them, what is that one message that you would have for young people?
I always try and say things that may not sound wrong. One of the things that I always tell people is that let's allow young people to explore their own territories and advance themselves the way they fit. Because music itself is a generational thing. You know, it's almost like fashion, and fashion music along the you know, and in a particular way, and music as well. I mean, if you look at the history of South African music, it has evolved ever so much, and as it was evolving ever so much, it brings in a new element to the industry itself.
Absolutely.
So the only thing I can say to young people when you get into the industry, be careful of the pitfalls.
Yes. And don't let it consume you or define
let it
you.
not consume you.
Yes.
Because one of the things that they need to be aware of is how they look after the rands and cents. Because there's always this notion that musicians get in there, the industry, everybody else impoverishes them but themselves. Everybody else has to take the blame. But they don't take the blame for how they operate within the industries that they operate.
Absolutely,
They drive in fancy cars, they buy, and
the books are not. Books are not in order. Absolutely not.
Order. I guess. Look, it would be unfair of me not to even consider that at some stage, yes, I did delve into being a spendthrift, but even then, I was still prudent.
Beautiful. I love that.
So they need to look after it, because it's an industry that has many challenges along the way.
Correct.
And, it goes up
and down. Absolutely.
And the next thing, you have 2 years of no music, of nothing.
Yeah.
What did you do with the other 10 years of the music?
Wonderful. Something to definitely reflect on, I think, in all industries. So we've come to the end of this particular interview, but I'm definitely going to take this conversation offline, and we will post everything on social media as well. Damien is up next from 11 till 1. And thank you to everybody who engaged with us on the socials. Live on Facebook as well. I'm looking into the camera and also on the WhatsApp line, and it's been an absolute honor, Mr. HotStix, and I'm going to say Mr. HotStix because I know that there's people out there who's saying, how did this name come about?
And your dad is listening.
And my dad is listening from above.
Oh,
He's watching over us this afternoon and this morning. So we're going to continue the conversation, and to everybody, thank you so much, and sending you all lots of love, light, and prosperity. Audie, I'm going to see you tomorrow. Okay,
yes,
we're looking at the time, and I'm always in trouble at this time. So thank you very much, Sipho, for coming and joining us. Thank you for your contribution to this country and the world as well with your music.
Yeah, well, we all have to play our part in a small way.
Absolutely. Sending you lots of love, light, and prosperity, everybody. And like I said, Damien is up next from 11 till 1.